Good evening, everyone. This is Michelle Powell with Professional Manner. I want to thank you for joining me this evening. I appreciate you being here on the replay. Thanks for watching. I hope that you had an opportunity to catch the recap or even the replay of the full session from last night, where I talked about the three must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. Okay, this looks like someone new. Bola. Am I saying that right? Please give me your first name in the comments. And if this is your first time joining, please put a 1 and let me know where you're from. Hi, Alicia. Good evening. Thanks for joining. As you all are coming into the room, I'm just doing a quick summary of the session from yesterday where we talked about the three must-haves of a dynamic personal brand. I'm sorry, I was thinking two different things at once. I wanted to say too many words at once. Excited about tonight. So let me just move on here. Thank you for joining me this evening. I know this is a different time. I'm experimenting right now and probably the rest of the week for different times just to see if I'm capturing a few more folks who clicked the follow button but who have not been able to join live. So this evening we're going to continue this. You can consider it as part 2 of our session yesterday, where we talked about the three must-haves for your personal brand. And the first one that I told you about was having confidence. The three were confidence, likability, and integrity. So tonight we're going to dig into some information that will help to build your confidence. And as you can see from the promo slide there, that competence equals confidence. When you have competency in a certain area, it builds your confidence because you know that subject. So we're going to dig into some of the particulars. Good evening. We're going to dig into some of the particulars of business etiquette, what that really means. And let me pull up my notes here. I apologize. It's hard for me to reach it from here. I've got lots of stuff for you this evening, so I hope that you have a notepad, so you're going to take some notes. And if you think this is something that may interest a friend or a colleague, then click the share button. I think you can do that by hitting the little man on his head right there, or man or woman, I don't know, the little person there. And you can hit either the follow button, or if you're new and you just happened upon this channel, or if you'd like to share, you can go ahead and hit that and then click the share button. So I'm going to pull up my notes here. Bear with me for just a moment. And I'm going to share with you, first of all, something that I haven't done yet on Periscope. And this is, I think this is my third or fourth week. I don't even remember now, but I'm still calling myself a newbie because I'm still figuring things out, how different things work. Like I wasn't even sure how you do the share button. I think you swipe up if you're using an Android, or you swipe left to right. And if you're using an iOS, an iPad, or iPhone, and you can click either the follow button or you can click the share button. And this looks like someone new as well. Thank you for joining. Please give me your first name and where you're from. And if you are joining for the first time, then put a 1 in the comment box with your name and where you're from. I appreciate that. Hello there, Alicia. Thanks for joining this evening. I hope you had a chance to watch the replay in its entirety from yesterday. If not, I also did a recap earlier this afternoon of the three must-haves, and hopefully you all were able to see that. If not, it's still in rotation, of course, for the next 24 hours from this afternoon. The one that I did today was about 1 o'clock, so you have until 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to get that recap. But I'm going to do some of that again this evening, because I already see that there are a couple of new people who are on this evening, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let me also ask those of you who are new if this is a good time for you, because I asked the same question last night. I've had a bad connection. I'm going to go out and come back. Okay, sorry for that. So I'll slow down just a little bit so you can catch up with us. Thanks for letting me know. Is there anyone else that's having difficulty with the connection? Am I going in and out? Is my speech not going along with the picture that you see on the screen? Please let me know if there's any of that kind of difficulty. That's something else. Like I said, being a newbie on Periscope, I'm going to have to figure out if there is a way to fix that, and I'm sure there is. If you're new on Periscope altogether, or if you're not yet scoping but you plan to, let me suggest to you that there's one person in particular that I would love for you to follow, because he has great tips every single day. He's been in this from the very beginning. I think the Periscope is about 7 or 8 months old now, and Alex Pettit, he is in the UK. He is an expert on all things Periscope. He's phenomenal. He usually does maybe 1 or 2 sessions a day. And being in the UK, of course, he starts earlier in the day for us in the US, because they're, 4 or 5 hours ahead, I think. But Alex Pettit, it's Alex, and his last name is Pettitt. So if you're looking to figure out what this thing is all about, and if you're trying to, or you're planning to do your own scoping, or you've done it already and you're trying to figure some things out, I religiously am following him now, and I've learned some things about how to navigate this whole thing and how to build a community. These lights are a little bit bright. This is something else that he shared with us. I'm going to experiment for a second. Bear with me. See if that's any better. Oh boy. Okay, it's kind of like someone just flashed in my face. I'm trying to rejoin. My connection is horrible. Oh, I'm so sorry, Alicia. Okay, I'll try to hang in there with you. And if worst case scenario, you'll have to watch the replay for the entire thing. I'm hoping that this lighting is okay. You know, that's one of the things. I want to make sure that that's not distracting for you like it was distracting for me. Okay. So this evening, I'm going to share with you a little more about what's under my umbrella. Let me just take a moment to introduce myself again. For those of you who are new to my scope, my name is Michelle Powell, and I am the founder and CEO of Professional Manor of Washington. And what Professional Manor does is provide training and consultation in business etiquette. All things related to your work life and how to navigate that in a professional manner, so that you learn to communicate in a professional manner, you learn to present yourself to your business community in a professional manner, thus the name. And hopefully you will gain over some time some good information here that will help you, whether you work for yourself or you work inside an organization, to just improve the way that you do your business, the way you conduct business, the way you conduct yourself. And so what I shared last night was about developing your personal brand in a dynamic way, and what constitutes a dynamic personal brand. You know, we all have certain characteristics that people can quickly define us by. They can say, oh, well, this person works in this industry, or she is a consultant, you know, that sort of thing. But beyond that, beyond the job title or the industry that you're in, what is it that you want people to determine and understand about you? What are the takeaways that you want them to have? And so we talked about 3 important or very vital things that you need to have in order to be dynamic in that professional setting. And those 3 things, if you're just joining, I mentioned before, is confidence, likability, and integrity. And those 3 things really encompass a lot. And if you dig deeper into each one, you'll understand how you build into that. How do you build your confidence? How do you create likability? How do you create or establish integrity? So I did the introduction yesterday of those 3 things. And what I'm going to do this evening is to share with you some of the components that help to build your competency in the area of business etiquette. So let me start with giving you a definition of etiquette, and then let's apply that to business. Now, most people, when they think about etiquette, they first are considering things like table manners or common courtesy. And those things are true, that's correct. But as you look a little deeper, it really has to do with your behavior overall. It is being appropriate for a given situation or environment. So when you think about it that way, then it's easy for you to understand how that leads to business etiquette. It's being appropriate in a business setting and what that looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, all of that. And so the breakdown under that umbrella of business etiquette has everything to do with the way you present yourself in person, how you carry yourself, your deportment, your personal presentation, meaning your grooming and your dress, your mannerisms and body language, your use of your voice, speech, your tone of voice, all those paralinguistic things as well, and the way that you present yourself to the world that shows that you have competency in the area of professionalism. So these are some of the things that are not necessarily taught to you at work. They may have even a code of conduct for that given industry or for that business practice, but they don't necessarily tell you these are the rules of professionalism. They expect you to know that. And yes, on a certain level, when we come up in our career, there are some things that we've learned by trial and error. We learn by examples of other people, both good and bad examples. But there are some things that we never seem to get unless they are outright and deliberately taught to us. And so those are some of the gray areas that cause difficulty for you, that can actually cost you the loss of business or opportunities for advancement in your career. Or if you're just starting out in business and you're eager to get the word out about what it is that you present, what service you have, you can make a lot of mistakes along the way when you're trying to network and build new relationships. There's a sense of, urgency and excitement, and your passion can be taken the wrong way because of the way that you present yourself in such an eagerly way. That made sense. So what I want to do this evening is to touch on some of those things specifically for entrepreneurs, because I took a few minutes to look at some of those of you who follow this Periscope at ProManner, and I discovered that a lot of you are working for yourself. So I want to make sure that I am presenting to you content that's meaningful for you. I do work inside of a lot of corporations, and I spend a lot of time in group training in that environment. However, I also speak to organizations that cater to entrepreneurs, and I've done individual coaching for entrepreneurs. So there are two sides of the same subject that I can easily present here, but I understand that most of you who tune in are working for yourself. Now, if I need to correct that for my audience this evening, please let me know, and I can fine-tune. Alicia, are you still having trouble? I see you've joined probably 3 times. I hope it's gotten better for you. I hope it's better. Okay, because I don't want you to miss too much. I'm here now. Okay, very good. Hopefully it's going to be consistent for you and you don't have to jump off and back on again. But if you do, you can catch it in its entirety. You know how to do that by watching the replay. All right, so let's dig in. So I want to help to build your confidence in the areas that may be areas of concern for you or that you're unsure. So here's what I want to do. Rather than just give you a topic and just talk on that and ask for a little bit of feedback, I want to ask you, after I present to you some of the things that are included in business etiquette, I'm going to give you some ideas to that. And then I'm going to ask you to ask me if there's something relative to any one of those areas that you would like to address specifically. Because I think it's more beneficial, especially with an intimate group like this, to talk to your need. Okay? So let me first share with you, as I pull this up, this is what I consider, okay, great. Sounds good. So if you have some things already in your mind, get ready to share that in the comment button. But here are some things that I usually use as an outline. Let me say it that way. There are quite often times where I don't have the opportunity to give a full presentation. For example, sometimes I'm invited to do a lunch and learn, or I may be the speaker for a class, a guest lecturer at a university, or sometimes I'm keynote presenter, and so I have to give you an overview of what business etiquette is as opposed to digging deeper. So let me just give you the categories as I've defined them, and then that'll help you understand some of the things that, oh, I didn't realize that was etiquette, or that I should be concerned about my etiquette in this area. Okay, so the first category would be your business image or your personal image, and that's what we've been talking about for the last few days. I apologize to everyone who is watching. I have an emergency call. I know what that's about, so excuse me for just one moment, and I will be right back. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Guys, thank you about that. Thank you for that. All right, just had to take care of some family business real quick. All right, so the categories that are under the umbrella of business etiquette, and I would call them the essentials of business etiquette. Thank you very much. I appreciate you understanding. Marty and Katina show. Yay! Hey guys, thanks for joining this evening. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that you will share in the live chat here. We are talking about building confidence around your personal brand. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the replay last night, but I talked about the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. Thank you for inviting followers. I appreciate that very much. Oh, wow. Okay, and it popped up on my screen because I'm following you. Okay, that's pretty cool. So last night I talked about the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand, and I'll just tell you very quickly because I'm going to dig deeper this evening. Those 3 things are confidence. You must have confidence in order for others to have confidence in you, thus your personal brand. So confidence is number 1. Number 2 is likability. And number 3 is integrity. Without those 3 things, it doesn't matter what else you're doing to try to impress people. You must have integrity, and that means that you're being consistent with your brand. You're not confusing people about who you are and what you represent, what your area of expertise or knowledge is. You're not confusing them with that. You're also respectful to your audience. That means that you dig a little deeper to know who your audience really is, and are you meeting their needs. And I gave some examples for that. And then the other thing related to integrity is establishing healthy boundaries. So that's just one aspect. The likability factor is being engaging, being approachable, being positive, being a good listener, all of those things that help to draw people in. That's the likability. And then this evening, we're going into confidence. And the way that I expressed it was that confidence comes from competency. When you know that you know that you know. When you know what to say and what to do, how to rightly present yourself, or knowing the right thing to say at the right time in the right way. Okay? That's one way of putting it. So in order for you to have that confidence, you need to know your subject, which is yourself. That we're talking about personal brand. But inside of that, you need to know what it is that you want to present. Thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate that. I didn't even ask for them, and they're coming anyway. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. It feels lively, and it's actually very pretty too. So thank you. I appreciate that. So we're talking about building your confidence around your personal brand. A lot of us have a tendency to focus on some areas that are inside of our business, meaning the work that we actually do, and sometimes we forget the outside packaging. We're confident about what we know, what it is that what our skill is, our technical expertise, But sometimes we don't get the opportunity to present that in the best way. People they can't get past the first impression. And so you don't have the opportunity to share with them what you really have to give that would benefit them. So I guess my job, my role, my passion, my soapbox is to share etiquette for business, for a business setting, understanding how to be appropriate in a business setting and what that really entails. So I'm giving an overview of the essentials of business etiquette this evening, and then I'm going to ask you to ask me some questions. And I can guide the conversation if you get stuck, or you're not thinking of anything, or you're not sure you want to share. It's okay. I do have some things that I can present to you this evening, and hopefully that will be valuable content for you as well. But what's really important here for those of you who are watching live is to interact, to share with me what it is that may be a concern for you. So I would love to answer for you specifically what may be a concern in your business environment. It may be something that has happened already and you're wondering, well, did I handle that right? Did I say it the way I should have? Or should I have sent the email or picked up the phone? Or, that kind of thing. So we can get into that. All right, so here is the breakdown of what I consider the essentials of business etiquette. And I will give you the main categories. The first category is your personal image, and that's basically what we're talking about or have been focused on last night and this evening so far. The next thing is having office etiquette, knowing how to navigate the workplace. We work in a shared environment, and there are some things that come up during that time that we spend with so many other people, especially in close quarters for a number of hours, that we can offend, we can alienate people. There are a lot of things that can go wrong in the office. So next to getting yourself right in your personal presentation is knowing how to interact with other people. So I go from if I'm presenting the entire package, if you will, I will first address your personal image. Then I'll talk about office etiquette. What is in your work environment, how to get along with the people that you work with. And then next is client relations. How do you appropriately navigate those business relationships so that you do not offend, so that you can ensure the longevity of those professional relationships. And then that even includes for those of you who are on executive status level, you work for yourself. Of course you are an executive, right? Sometimes you have to entertain clients, and there are some do's and don'ts to that. So that's one of the things that I cover under that. And in general, there are some things that you should know about business socializing and entertaining. For example, the holidays are coming up. What are you going to do when there's a holiday office party, or your association? You're an entrepreneur, but you are a member of the Chamber of Commerce or some other professional association, and you need to know how to navigate those social environments without causing any kind of tarnish to your personal brand. And then, of course, there is communication. There are so many ways to approach the conversation around communication. But the way that I style that is encompassing of every way that you communicate. So whether it's face-to-face, your conversation skills, your choice of language, your body language, the nonverbal cues, understanding those things, as well as professional business communication. That means your emails and everything else that's associated with that, and even using social media for business and how you draw clear lines or boundaries again between your professional life and your business life, and how to not be a nuisance on social media. When you're trying to, as an entrepreneur, you're always trying to build that list, build your email list. There's some things that you can do that will tarnish your brand, and people will say, oh, I don't want to do any business with you. You've already gotten on my nerves. You're driving me crazy with all these emails and, that kind of thing. So those are the main categories that I address. So it would be anything under your personal image, how you present yourself. That's everything from your dress to your grooming to your stance, your posture, body language, the way that you speak, how to correct your tone of voice when you need to, those sorts of things. Office etiquette has to do with getting along with the people that you work with, and understanding what the expectations are in that environment, the company culture, if you will, and all those sorts of things. And then client relations has everything to do with building that loyalty to your brand, whether it's you as the entrepreneur, which is also your personal brand, or a larger brand, which is the organization that you work for or work inside of. So those are some of the things. So hopefully that's giving you some idea of what we can talk about. All right. I can spend a lot of time on any one of those areas. But what I want to do that I think may be most meaningful for you is to answer questions for you specifically. So if you think of something at any time, please go ahead and throw it up. I'm going to pull up, I have so many screens open here. I'm going to pull up my notes here so that I can dig in a little deeper on continue our conversation from yesterday when we talked about confidence. And remember, what I was saying about confidence is that it first comes from you being comfortable with who you are and remembering your why it is that you do what you do in a professional setting, why you are a consultant, why you've chosen to be whatever it is that you've chosen to be, whatever your message is. It's important to remember your why and how does that serve your target audience. And in addition to that, you build around that other competencies. Okay, so you have your technical skill, but you need to build around that those things that help to build your community, your professional community, that help to build your network and your pipeline of clients. So it's important to understand where etiquette comes in here. And I gave the example last night, excuse me. I gave the example last night of the real estate agent. Okay, hang on, Alicia. There's something else going across my screen that's keeping me from seeing what you just said. I am so sorry. I missed it completely. My phone is updating while we're chatting away here, and it completely covered that. I'm so sorry. Alicia, please throw that up there again, and I'll be sure to respond to it. I apologize for that. Yeah, I had my phone off for a little while, and it's doing all these updates, and so hopefully you can't see this on your screen, but I'm seeing a lot of updates for different things going on my phone. Okay, so we were talking about confidence last night. Okay, great. How do I deal with the negative person who applied for my role and didn't get it? The negative person who applied for your role and didn't get it. Tell me a little bit more. I understand, how do you deal with a negative person? You say who applied for your role. So were you moving out of a position, and did you have some authority over making a decision and that person replacing you? Help me understand the situation a little better so that I can respond to that specifically. In the meantime, while you're trying to put that together for me, I'm new to the oh, you're new to the company. Oh, okay, I think I understand, and give me a thumbs up or a yes. Okay, so the person, your predecessor, was a very negative person, and now you're stepping into that role, and people still have those ill feelings toward that last person. Is that what you're expressing to me? And how do you fit into that role when there's so much negativity around that from the last person? Is that what we're talking about here? Hopefully that's what you're expressing. All right, while you're putting that up there, or maybe I was totally off. Okay, she wanted the job and I got it. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. I understand. So you all worked together, and I guess both of you were being considered for this position. You got it. She didn't. Probably because of her negativity, that had a big part to do with it, I'm sure, and other people recognize that. Does that sound about right? And now you're trying to figure out, how do I deal with this person? I have to continue to work with them. I have the job they wanted, and what do I do? Is that the real question, I guess I'm asking? Is that the question? How do you engage this person who may be hostile? I'm new there from out of state. Okay, so there are a lot of new things. All right, so you're the new kid on the block. So there's a lot for you to adjust to, and they're adjusting to you. Hi, Be Free. Thanks for joining this evening. Okay, so you're the newbie. So let's dig into, office etiquette. All right, because that comes under that category or that umbrella. You're trying to figure out what's what there. You're trying to understand what the expectations are. You're learning the company culture. Can I ask you how long you've been there? Hello, Mr. Be Free, or Mr. or Miss Be Free. Alicia, if you can throw up there a number, if it's months or days, just tell me how long so I get an idea. She assumed that they should have just given her the job. Oh, yeah. All right, so you're dealing 3 weeks. Wow, you're dealing with some serious hostility. So not only are you new to the organization, so she has the lay of the land. She has that advantage already. She has tenure there, and she's feeling very slighted that they brought someone else in for that position that she thought for sure that she was prepared to take on, that she was deserving of. So yeah, that's going to be a difficult road to travel for you, but not impossible. Here's the thing that I would suggest to you first. Don't try to jump at the chance to be her friend, okay? You want to make sure that you gain respect from her first. Respect from her and respect from your colleagues, because she's going to try to seek to undermine you just because of the jealousy of not having that position. And it's very important for you early on to establish your boundaries. I think you were on when we did that session, establishing the healthy boundaries. If not, you can go to, if you missed that, you can go to catch.me/ProManner, and there's an episode, I guess that's what you call it, previous session where I talked about setting healthy boundaries in the workplace. So make sure you catch that if you didn't see it before. Okay, so I'm understanding your situation a little bit better, and you can help me along the way just throwing up some comments, Alicia. I appreciate that. And anyone else who wants to chime in, please feel free. So my understanding is that you're brand new to the organization. You're brand new to the area even. Everything is new for you, so you have somewhat of a disadvantage there. But what is to your advantage is also the fact that you're new. So you can establish some new things in that role. One of the things that I would suggest to you is that you not spend too much time focusing on that relationship with her, because she will come along. She will come along. It's important for you to establish yourself as a competent person, that they made the right decision to hire you in that role. And as far as dealing with the office politics and the dynamics with this other person, you're going to have to focus more importantly on consistency in the way that you interact with people. That's how you build the respect that she needs to give you and others need to give you. That's how you build that sense of loyalty, because there are people in there who were her cheerleaders. You know, she probably didn't keep it to herself that she wanted that position. And so some other folks who may be her friends, you know, in her little circle or her clique, because there are cliques in the office, who may have been egging her on, and then she's embarrassed because she didn't get it, and now there's all this aftermath of how do I, you know, pick my chin up off the floor and, you know, smile and say, congratulations and nice to meet you, Alicia. Let me show you around the office. You know, I don't know how engaged you have to be with her if she's in the same department or that kind of thing. But your focus is going to need to be, first of all, understanding the lay of the land and understanding the company culture overall. because this one person, if she's not in executive management, she doesn't drive the culture of the entire organization. So not to say don't worry about her, that's petty. I'm not saying that at all, because she can cause problems for you, if you don't find ways to get along with her. But it's more important for you as a newbie in the organization to focus on understanding the company culture. And what I mean by that is figuring out, excuse me, things, sorry about that. Little things like, is everyone called by their first name or their last name, or does that depend on hierarchy? Do people get together and informally have lunch? Does the company organize or orchestrate any kind of social gatherings at all? What is the social norm in the morning? Excuse me. Do people come in and quietly get to work, and then later in the day it's a little more casual and people start roaming around and walking and talking to each other? Do they socialize midday? Some of those things will help you gauge how quickly you need to jump into making small talk with people and trying to, build relationships there. So understanding what the expectations are of you in your role, understanding what the organization's brand is, what they represent. So I'm sure that you've gotten papers probably in your first day or two about the organization, what they represent, their mission, their vision, all that sort of thing. So if you get a sense that the overall environment is positive, most of the people that you're encountering, most of the people that you're working with, you've gotten some sense of it by the third week, I'm sure. And so hopefully this person is the exception to the rule, and that it's not a very negative environment or a very competitive and petty environment. Hopefully that's not the case. But even still, if that does occur, there are ways that you can do a workaround. So what I would suggest, and I guess I would have to know a little bit more about your relationship to her, as far as your roles. Do you have to work closely with her, or is she someone that you just, maybe she's a peer, she didn't get this position, but she may be a peer. The Courage Giver is here. Yay! Thanks for joining, RJ. I appreciate you being here. We're talking to Alicia and helping her to sort out, she's in a new position, and there is a negative person in her shadows who wanted the position that she was just hired into. So the question was, how do you deal with that negative person? Well, I would suggest to you, Alicia, that you maintain your professionalism at all times, that you are positive, you are cordial, that you are engaging with everyone on the same level, including this person. The office is not negative, it's just particularly that individual and maybe two more. Okay, well that's good you know that. That's good. And hopefully she's not wielding any power that would cause harm to you. Hopefully it's a lateral thing, and so that you can do some workarounds as you need to. But again, what I was saying is, don't be overly concerned or try too hard to, build a bridge to her. That will come over time. I would say, more importantly, to just be consistent across the board in how you treat everyone the same. If you make small talk with someone else and she comes along, make eye contact with her and invite her into the conversation. Or if she's talking and you happen to pass by, smile, just a simple acknowledgement, that sort of thing, so that you let her know, first of all, it's not your fault that she didn't get the position, so there's no reason for her to be hostile towards you, and hopefully she'll have the maturity after she gets over her emotional loss. It's a disappointment for her, and I'm sure that whatever else was built into that excitement for her, I will continue to do that. Great. There were a lot of things that she planned, I'm sure, because as females, we're planners, right? And when we have a vision and a goal, we just plan what comes next. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So she's still dealing with the disappointment. And so you just have to give her time. So don't be too much in her space, if you can avoid that. But certainly, as the nature of the business requires that you spend time with her, just make sure that you're cordial and you're consistent with her. RJ lost connection, and hopefully that means you're back now. I don't know, maybe it's probably because this is a high time for broadcasting. I saw there are quite a few other people who were on this evening. So, we're all on that same channel, if you will, using the same resource. So that's probably why you may be having some difficulty. I apologize if you're missing pieces of this. So, Alicia, does that help at all? I hope that there were a few points in there. I guess the main thing I'm saying is focus on, okay, yes, you're back, great. Focus on the nature of the business and the relationship will come. That's really what I'm trying to say. So that you make sure you maintain your professionalism across the board, that you are consistent, and she will come along. I mean, first of all, the reality is she has no choice, She has no choice in the matter, so she'll get over the emotional. We spend a lot of time together at the desk, yes, so it does help. Okay, great. It will come over time. Be patient with her, be patient with yourself. As opportunity arises for you to share something extra with her, share a little bit of yourself, not too much, but just be a person to her. She will come along. She will. And she'll learn to respect you. She'll learn to respect the work that you're doing. And she will, over time, come into that space where, okay, let's just get to business. Hopefully she's not being outright hostile towards you. And if that's the case, then there's some other avenues that you may need to take to address that more clearly. So hopefully that's been a little bit helpful to you. Is there anyone else who has a question while we're still on that same subject of office etiquette, getting along with the people that you work with, especially sounds great, thank you. Good, I'm glad that helped. Especially when you work in small quarters. Now, I know that a lot of entrepreneurs actually share space with people. You may not be with the same organization because you have your own company, but you may work in one of those shared offices. I do know that she has the potential to be great. And Alicia, as long as you maintain your positivity and you give her the benefit of the doubt, along the way, she will come along. She will sense your sincerity. She will appreciate and respect your professionalism. So just, I think one of the things that's really important for us all to remember, and it goes under that, the umbrella where I was talking about establishing healthy boundaries. You help people understand how to treat you. You tell them how to treat you by establishing those boundaries. One of the ways that you tell them how to treat you is in the way that you treat them. Now, we've all heard the golden rule, and I live by the golden rule: treat others as you'd like to be treated. But let me say something else about that. And thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate it. And the beautiful colors. Green is one of my favorite colors, and I think I saw purple too. I love those two colors, so that makes me feel good. Thank you. The boundaries, are really important because that sets the stage and the tone for every relationship that we have. And one of the things that I've learned as I've come along and I've increased my own competency in the area of business etiquette is that the golden rule sometimes is not enough. And in fact, it can be wrong. I know that sounds crazy, but let me tell you what I mean, because first of all, I live by the book that has the golden rule, okay? I understand what that means, and rightly applied, it's always true. Rightly applied, I'm tongue-tied tonight. Rightly applied. But here's where the difference comes in. When you say treat others as you would like to be treated, the difference comes in when there's a cultural difference. If you feel that respect means I'm giving you good eye contact, and if you're looking away or you're looking down while I'm speaking to you and I'm thinking, oh, how rude, that's disrespectful to me. Well, in other cultures, that is quite the opposite. And I gave this example last night. If you were here, you heard this before, that in many cultures, in Asian cultures in particular, eye contact means that you're challenging me, that, it's almost let's go to war kind of thing. It's a subtle way of disagreement, strong disagreement or confrontation. And so someone that you're interacting with who is of another culture where eye contact is a no-no, and looking away is the sign of respect, then you can't apply the golden rule there, because you're bringing them into your culture and you're misinterpreting theirs, and then there's a barrier in your communication. So, that's the caveat there. And that's why I'm here to share the difference with you and to let you know that your good intentions, you may be well-meaning in a lot of the things that you do, but you may be wrong in your application because of your audience. So that's really what my message is all about, is helping you understand how to avoid those faux pas that can harm your business relationships, that can harm the takeaways that people have about you. You make the wrong first impression because you're not understanding your audience. And it's no fault of yours to not know that, but you do have opportunity to learn, to know more things about your audience, how to rightly engage them so that they feel respected, they feel honored, they feel appreciated, they feel understood, and that you have the right language to communicate with them. You have common language with them. So that's really what etiquette is all about. Etiquette for business is to help you understand those differences and to know when to apply them accordingly. Okay, so let's see. If there are no other questions right now, I'm going to dig into something for you. And then I'm going to give you opportunity to get more resources from me. I apologize, I have to tap my screen for a moment. There's a call coming in. You need your other settings to be on in order for this to broadcast properly, but then all these other bells and whistles and things go off. So I apologize for that. Maybe that's something else I can learn from Alex Pettit, is how to control all of that, how to monitor that. But let me give you a few takeaways for this evening. I know I dug deeply on that one subject, but I hope that was meaningful to you, Alicia, and maybe it was helpful to someone else who's watching. But I want to be respectful of your time as well. I did start later this evening. For most of you who have been joining at 7 o'clock, I started at 8. So I want to wrap it up. And let me leave you with this, because I want to continue the conversation tomorrow evening. So here's what I'd like for you to do. Come back tomorrow with your specific questions around the area of building confidence for your personal brand. Where are some areas that you find might be weak points for you? Some things that you may not be sure how you handle yourself in business. Great. Thank you so much, Alicia. I appreciate the feedback, because sometimes I can just talk and I feel like I'm either giving too much or not enough, because I know my subject and I have to make sure that it's connecting with my audience. Okay, so I have to practice what I preach, basically. But let's dig a little deeper tomorrow. If that's something that is still, brings up other questions for you, Alicia, you can bring that back tomorrow and ask more specifically. And for the rest of you who are watching on replay, please come back tomorrow evening and engage during our active time together. Now, tomorrow evening, and I apologize, I have to do this to you, changing my times around, but if you're following me, then you'll get the notice right away. So if you're not already doing so, please swipe up on your Android or swipe left to right and click the follow button. That way you'll get notice when I'm broadcasting. This week my schedule is kind of all over the place, so I'm going to jump in as I can. Tomorrow evening I actually am going to be a student myself, learning from someone else's webinar, and I think that begins at 8. So I'm going to try to come to you tomorrow at 7. We're going to wrap it up in 45 minutes, and then we'll continue the next day. So let this conversation build, okay? So let me recap so that you know what it is we're talking about, so you can participate. If you're live here or you're watching replay, so you can come back tomorrow. We started yesterday by talking about the 3 must-haves of building a dynamic personal brand. And I am absolutely positive that these 3 things you cannot do without. You must have confidence, you must have the likability factor, and you must have integrity. If you don't have integrity, you'll destroy the rest of that. Okay, so we talked a little bit this evening about building your confidence around the things that you know. And I want to pour into you more knowledge, more information on what business etiquette is, so that you know how to self-correct. So let me give you a couple of takeaways for this evening that go beyond our specific subject that we talked about for Alicia. I thought I was following you already, but I am now. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I'm glad I said that. You know, I shouldn't make the assumption that you are. So very good. Thank you. Thanks for following. And please, at any time, even on the replay, you know, if you're watching this on your phone, you can click the share button. So, and you can also click the follow button if you're watching on replay. The only thing you can't do on replay, and you can give hearts, actually. How about that? The only thing you can't do on replay is to give comments and have me feedback. You know, have me give you feedback. So many words in my head tonight. I have to slow down. Okay, so let me give you a couple of very easy tips, all right, in this area of business etiquette. We all network, right? We all go to networking events. We are always trying to build on our business, you know, add to our list of potential clients. But there are so many faux pas that we commit when we are networking. And let me give you a couple so that you can correct them. First of all, let me give you some logistics. When you first walk into a room, you should know who's there. And by that I mean not the names of everyone on the list. Now, if you're privy to that, that's awesome. And if you're going to a company-sponsored organization, a company-sponsored event, or you're going to maybe you're part of a civic group, and the association is throwing a business after-hours event, you know, a happy hour or something, you can get a feel or get an idea of who's on the guest list and make the decision of who you want to meet, who you want to connect with, or asking someone to introduce you, to make introductions for you. You can do that. But when you first walk in, what's one of the first things that you do? You sign in, right? They want to know that you're there. So you go to the registration table, and they usually give you what? A little name tag or a badge or something to wear, or maybe you come with your own. Where do you put that name tag? Do you know? Left side or right side? You know it goes on your shoulder. Where does it go? On the right shoulder or the left shoulder? Give me an answer in the comment section, in the comment box there. Where does your name tag go? Does it go on the left side? Does it go on the right side? And we'll talk about why. You may think, oh, doesn't matter. I mean, if they can read, they can read. So what do you think? Does it go on the left side or the right side? All right, while you're thinking, maybe you're being shy, the answer is your name tag should go on your right side. Why? Because you shake with your right hand. So it's within view of your making eye contact with the person. You can very easily line that up with their name tag. So for example, you can save face if this is a person that you should know their name, but you forgot, right? So if it's on the right hand shoulder, it's very easy for the person to see that as they're reaching out to shake your hand. Here's the other thing that I see at networking events. People are very eager to share their information. And so you get into these pods of conversation, and before you go, you say, oh, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card. You were standing there with 5 or 6 people, and here's my card, here's my card. But have you really decided that you want to do business with these people, or they have asked for your information and they want to do business with you? So you don't want to show up and turn into that blackjack dealer, you know, that is just passing out cards to every person. Hopefully if I just get it in their hands, then that'll be good enough and they'll remember me, or they'll be curious enough to look at my website and they'll call me. But you haven't built anything yet. So I would suggest to you that name tag on the right side, and save your business cards for the invitation. If someone asks for it, then certainly give it. But if you've had conversation long enough to know, yes, I'd like to follow up with this person, then that's when you give them your business card. And you say to them, well, I'm finding common interest here. Let's talk about this more. Here, let me give you my information. Okay? So don't just show up, slap that name tag on the wrong side, and walk around the room passing out business cards and say, whew, okay, I'm done. There's a lot more to that. And the other thing I would suggest to you is you don't even have to give out. If you go to a networking event and don't pass out one business card, that's okay. You know why? Because maybe you didn't make a connection there. Maybe it was the wrong audience and you had nice small talk, you were cordial, but there was no one that really fit your target audience. Now, you may have collected information from them. That's fine. But here's the other thing. It's more important that you give something first than to look for the business. So anytime that you can be a networker, that you can connect people to someone else or a resource that they need, then you've created value for yourself. And then they have the opportunity to say, well, tell me about your business again. But always look to satisfy someone else's need first. Give before you seek to get. All right, so those are 3 points on networking. I hope that helps. And tomorrow we'll be back for more of this conversation on building confidence around your personal brand. And I'm going to do that by pouring into you a few tips on business etiquette. Here's the other thing that you can do as homework, if you'd like, is you can visit my website, which is professionalmanner.com. And there are a couple of things on there for you. Right off the bat, as soon as you go to the home page, there's a free gift for you. And it is 6 tips for etiquette and protocol in meetings. All right, so we all go to meetings, right? You should know some do's and don'ts about sitting in a meeting. So when you go to professionalmanner.com, all you have to do is say, yes, I'd like this free gift. You send your information, which just gives me your email, so that I can send that back to you. And I promise I don't spam. I am not going to continue to send you tons of things, only if you ask for it. And if I do send you an invitation for an announcement of something, you can receive it and opt out if you don't want that. All right? But I don't send tons of emails. I don't have the time. I don't put those things together. So you'll have one and done for now. All right? If you'd like that free resource, go to professionalmanner.com. And then I have a blog page. So you can find links to, I have articles on my website, but I also have written a column for a couple of years for the Alabama Media Group. And so it will take you to links on the different subjects. You can look at the archives and find a subject that interests you, and you can learn more. So hopefully you'll be back tomorrow, and we'll continue this conversation on building confidence around your personal brand and creating that likability factor and establishing integrity. We're going to continue the conversation throughout the rest of the week. Thanks for joining this evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.